First pitch, not happy already. Have to look at this frickin' guy's ugly mug. Although he looks good. He's a nicely matched, interesting outfit. I don't want to do this show, dude. You gonna talk?
That's your intro?
Yeah, I don't want to do the show. Ask me why.
Why?
Game 7, Leafs, Boston tonight. We're taping at 1 p.m. Eastern. The game doesn't start for 6 hours. I'm already antsy. I'm nervous. I'm not actually coping. But hey, we got a lot of games to do.
Stop for a minute, because this I have to make fun of.
Oh, please do, Teddy, please. Because if you don't make fun of it, who will?
Exactly. You're that big of a fan that a round one series, you're like, all day?
All day.
Wow.
You
should have. Fan sucks. I feel sorry for you, honestly.
You should have seen me on, dude. You should have seen me on Friday. Friday it was Game 5. The Leafs and Boston were tied 2-2. We had Passover Seder. It was at Vivian's house. I had my family coming over. We could not watch the game because we had to honor the fact that my parents and Viv's mom were there, and they are into their Jewish heritage, and they wanted to do a proper Seder. Yes, we taped the entire game. I had to ban cell phone. I banned cell phones from the Seder table. I forced people to go to the washroom in a buddy system so that no one would steal a look at their phone. We taped the game. I watched it after. I mean, she'll explain what went down.
Okay, so what went down was Lawrence was going apeshit, batshit, crazy. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen, and I've watched him watch NFL. I've watched him watch every sport under the sun. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I was genuinely concerned. I mean, I was concerned watching, and I was like doing this, and I was like throwing things. But Lawrence was on a whole other level. It was entertaining and scary at the same time.
There were times where I was literally standing there going like, dude.
Yeah, I've seen you watch an NFL game, but
it was like a temper tantrum. Temper tantrum. It was a temper tantrum. You have like a child who's like now older. Remember the temper tantrums that kids would have when they were little?
Sure. I see Lawrence has them every day. In fact, almost every time we do a show with him, he has a little one.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is the Leafs won.
So this happens to me. Sometimes you're so mad at a team when you make a bet on them and they cover anyway or they win anyway, and you're still just walking around in a pissed off mood. You're like, no, you should have won easier. You should have won. You should have covered by margin. You're like, that I understand when you win and you're still mad for sure. But the whole like, oh, I'm this big fan. I mean, it's depressing is what it is, because you're sitting there absolutely powerless. You're handcuffed to your team, and whatever they do, you're stuck with them. And most of the teams lose. 29 out of 30 in the NHL.
Miami at Cleveland. Cleveland 12-9 on the season. Miami a ungodly disaster, 6-6, 1-5 away from home. Both teams are basically even on the over and under tonight. Cleveland a huge favorite, Teddy, at minus 220, 222. Miami's lost a whole lot of games, brother. 5 of their last 7, but they did win against Washington. They won the series 2-1. Cleveland's on a 2-game losing streak. Lost to Atlanta 11-5 and then 8-7. We've got Lopez versus Carrasco on the mound. Carrasco, real tough start to the season. 17 innings pitched, a 7.4 ERA, a 1.76 whip, and Lopez not really much better. And yet the over and under is 7.5 with 2 pitchers really struggling. Interesting line there in the total. I can't take the favorite here at all. It's too big a number, but I do like the over. What are your thoughts?
Carlos Carrasco is not really struggling. Carlos Carrasco is an all-star who had a couple of rough starts Last time out, he struck out 12. He had 3 hits, 7 shutout innings, and pitched the team to a 1-0 win. Carlos Carrasco is an ace. His quote, "I felt way different. My mechanics were there. I got my tempo back."
All right. I love how you
Carrasco's
have quotes waiting for us. Teddy, you're so organized. You prepare so well. It's an honor and privilege to have you on First Pitch.
I don't have quotes for every team, but I got quotes for the ones that I knew you were going to screw up.
Ah! Damn, we're awesome together.
The market's like Pablo Lopez. Yes, he's 1-3 with a 5.85 ERA. But what do the markets like? They like young pitchers with promise. He had a win in his debut. He's had 3 straight losses. 5 innings of solid ball against the Cubs. Give only 2 runs in that outing. He's only 23 years old, and the markets say he's pretty good. Then again, the Indians are 2-1 chalk for a reason. Miami's 6. By the way, they're not 6-6, as you said. They're 6-16 because this team can't hit their way out of a wet paper bag, and that will continue to be a problem for Miami. The markets love the Wild. We're seeing Marlins money game after game. The Wise Guys like this team. Good luck, Wise Guys.
Atlanta, my brother, 11-10 on the season against an 8-13 Cincinnati. Atlanta, 4-4 away. I've been telling people all season long, just bet the overs in Atlanta blind. It's 11-9 right now. About 69% of the money so far coming in on Atlanta. They're minus 115. The total is 9 here, Teddy. Atlanta's won their last 2 games in a row. We just spoke about that. They beat Cleveland. And Cincinnati, although they lost to San Diego, they really looked good against them in that series, winning 3-2. But the Cincinnati Bats just don't seem to be coming alive, even with all their offseason pickups. I think it's a matter of time before this team starts hitting. Does it happen tonight? And where should we go in this game?
Yeah, the Reds will make us some money before the season's through. But it's not happening right now. They're ice cold. In fact, they're dead last in the National League. They're below the Mendoza line, 197 as a team in batting average, even though the pitching's second best in MLB in ERA with 3.22. But we've seen the money come on Atlanta this morning. Why? The market's like Gausman. Gausman coming off a gem last time out. 3 hits, struck out 10 in 7 innings against Arizona. And this is, that's why one of the many reasons why we like, I'm with you 100% on the Braves being a team you want to be betting over the total on a game-in, game-out basis. But Gausman's one guy who can go, 7 strong. And if you go 7 strong, it takes that bullpen out of the equation. Matt Kemp, very questionable for the Reds today. So a lineup that's already without Scooter Gennett, maybe without another big bet this evening.
He's Teddy. I'm the Prez. You're watching First Pitch. It's our baseball show, Monday to Friday. Different guest every day. Tomorrow is Drew Martin. You can find the show at sportsmemo.com, at wagertalk.com, and our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV. Talk about a team that's playing to the over right now. Arizona, 12-9 to the over on the season, which I do find a little bit of a surprise. They're 12-11 on the year. They're in Pittsburgh. 12-8. I bet the under in last night's game. That did not go well at all for me. Arizona laid the smackdown 12-4. Pittsburgh, can they bounce back? They're a minus 112 favorite tonight. The over and under is 8. Weaver versus Williams, Teddy. Where are we going?
Well, I mean, there's some issues in Pittsburgh right now. Last night, reliever Nick Birdie left the game, and it was a bizarre situation. He just throwing a pitch, and next thing you know, his bicep is off his bone, and he's screaming on the ground in pain, and the locker room dead silent after the game. Clint Hurdle, it just takes the breath right out of you. Joe Musgrave was the starter last night. It's really quiet around the whole clubhouse. It's not easy to watch anybody go through that, especially a teammate. Coming off a blowout loss with that type of an injury where the guy's in agony and screaming, I worry about Pittsburgh this evening. And of course, Luke Weaver is coming off a gem, 5 innings of 4-hit ball in Atlanta. In that ball game, the quote from Arizona manager Terry Lovello, another quote: Luke threw the ball extremely well. We want each starter to build on one start to the next and continue to know they set the tone for us. Luke did that. Now, back-to-back quality starts for Weaver. No surprise, he's taking a little bit of money in early betting action today.
All I heard was bicep. Chicago White Sox. Oh, you want? Wait. Bicep. Your turn, Teddy.
He has to delayer.
Chicago White Sox on the road tonight playing Baltimore, two shitty teams. Baltimore 1-10 on the season, 8-16. Their record, 1-10 on the season at home. 8-16 on their record. And Teddy, they're up units for their bettors. It just goes to show you how powerful the money line is in baseball. And one of the things we spoke about at the beginning of the season, you bet Yankees, you bet Boston on the money line, game in, game out, you're going to lose money. Here's a perfect example. A team that is literally 33% on the year and winning you money. We spoke also that Baltimore is an over team, and they've shown that, 16-8 to the over. They're playing the White Sox tonight. Total is 9.5, a few tens on the board. It's a bit of a mix. The home team is plus 113. Chicago just beat Baltimore 12-2 last game. Baltimore has lost 4 in a row, 6 of their last 7. And tonight we have Nova versus Cashner on the mound. Both pitchers with a god-awful ERA to start the season. But Nova is 0-4 and Cashner 4-1. I feel like the home dog is live tonight, Teddy. I lean on Baltimore.
Yeah, where are you looking at your lines right now? Are you using the WagerTalk and/or Sports Memo live lines product?
No,
because it's clear that the lines you're giving out are delayed. This line is moved. We're seeing a minus 140 plus 130 right now on the White Sox.
Name the book. I've got like 20 books in front of me.
Yeah, but you're looking at lines that are an hour old from a bad website. Why don't you use your website and actually look at the lines?
Do you ever stop?
Well, I'm trying to give people a good podcast. You're sitting here giving them stale lines on a podcast they're not going to see for another hour. It's like 2 hour stale lines, man.
Okay, Teddy, great. Who the fuck's going to win this game?
God. And by the way, Orioles 1-10 at home, 10-1 to the over at home, which speaks volumes about Baltimore's relief pitching. I want no part of the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards. I want no part of any Baltimore game over. Be White Sox. Under, I should say. Be White Sox are over for this better.
San Francisco in Toronto. Most importantly, Kevin Pillar's return home. He's going to get a hero's welcome. I don't think it'll factor into the game. Toronto 11-12 on the season, playing a 9-14 San Francisco. Both teams are playing to the under. Toronto is slightly up in betting if you've bet them on the money line all year. They're minus 120 tonight. 8.5 is the total. San Francisco's lost 4 of their last 5 games. Toronto's on a roll. They've won their last 4. They've won 6 of their last 7. How about that for a road trip? Granted, it was against Minnesota and Oakland, but they'll take it. Samardzija versus Thornton. High hopes for Thornton. They do expect him to be a good pitcher. I ask the Theodore, without annoying me, without mocking me, being condescending or patronizing, or just an all-around ass, what do we do in this game?
I got nothing to say if you're giving me all those parameters, Prez.
Well put.
I mean, that's a lot of parameters for me. But look, certainly Thornton is a guy with promise. And this is a tale of 2 teams heading in opposite directions right now. Toronto started terrible, and they had a real good road trip. And San Fran, well, they started terrible. They had a few signs of life, and now they're having a bad East Coast swing themselves. So 2 teams that are heading a little bit in opposite directions right now. The market's pricing as a pick'em. If you look at current form, this game's not a pick'em. If you look at potential for Thornton, this game's not a pick'em. But he has had back-to-back really rough outings. And there's some advanced metrics that make Samardzija perhaps an attractive bet. I'm a little bit surprised this line is as low as it is. I thought it would be a good notch too higher. I thought that, and we've seen San Fran money. Toronto opened in the 125 range. I had this game pegged to be in about the 140 range. So I think there is legitimate value on the home favorite.
Talking about a home team, Boston Red Sox 9-13 on the season. Teddy, they are minus 12 units so far if you've bet them on the money line. Minus 12 units so far if you bet them on the run line. They are trending to the over, 12-9. Detroit is 10-10 on the year. They're trending to the under at 7-13, but they are up money for their bettors. Home team minus 200. It's the same thing every game with Boston, day in and day out. They haven't turned the corner and become an over 500 team yet. They're permanently minus 200. Well, they weren't against Tampa Bay, but they did win all 3 games in Tampa Bay. Is this the start of the run? If so, I would take the money line with Boston, even giving up that 9th inning rather than minus 200. We've got Turnbull versus Velasquez. Where are we going here, my good friend?
I don't play game 2s of doubleheaders.
And there we go.
I don't. I mean, there's too much, and there's a lot of nuance with game 2s and who goes game 1s. So from a service standpoint, I don't do it. If I see something watching game 1, I might make a bet. But prior to game 1, I never made a bet in game 2. I think at any point in my career, because you have to see how game 1 plays. You have to see who gets using the pen. You have to see what the manager's doing in terms of how he's approaching the 2 games. So I don't play the game 2s, flat out.
Okay,
that being
brother.
said, Boston's hot right now. They're not cold. They're hot. They just swept the series in Tampa. We'll see if that carries forward.
Speaking of Tampa, minus 189 to minus 200. Over and under is 8. They're playing Kansas City. Kansas City 7-16 on the year. And unlike the Orioles, losing money for their clients hand over fist, they're playing to the over at 14-8. Tampa Bay, we expected to be an under team all year, 10-12 to the under. Tampa Bay, they just lost, as we spoke about. They lost a bunch of games to Boston, but they did beat Kansas City yesterday 6-3. I had under 8. Chalk that up as a loser. Kansas City's lost 4 games in a row. No reason to think they win tonight. The only question is, should you take Tampa Bay on the run line, lay the juice, or play the total? Theodore?
I'm not that interested in the total.
Okay.
But all that being said, recognize what's happened in the last 2 starts for Homer Bailey's the number 1 bet against starter in all of baseball last year. Teams went 1 and did they have 21 starts? They went 1 and 20, or did they have 22 starts and they went 1 and 21? Yeah, I mean, he literally had more than 20 starts, and his team, not just him, his team won 1 of those. The biggest bet against pitcher in all of baseball last year. And he came out this year, the ultimate tired retread. No one wants any part of Homer Bailey, the worst pitcher. They bet against him his first start. They bet against him his second start. Uh-oh, Homer Bailey just threw a gem. Uh-oh, Homer Bailey just threw another gem and shut down the Yankees in the Bronx in a park that does not suit him well. Back-to-back absolute gems from Homer Bailey. The quotes coming out of the locker room after his last start were quotes that I haven't heard about Homer Bailey in 5 years. So I'm not going to step in front of KC with Bailey on the hill today. He's pitching way above what his recent norms have been. And it's so far ahead in his last 2 starts of where he's been for the last 2 years that it's enough for me to take a step back and watch this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, New York Yankees, Cleveland, 13 innings pitched in total, a 1 ERA, and only 5 hits in that entire period. It'd be interesting.
He never even got in trouble. There was never even an inning where he was in trouble.
It'll be interesting to watch that game and see what Homer Bailey can do. Philadelphia against the Mets, 12-10, both of them on the season. The Mets, biggest over team so far this year at 15-5 to the over. 57% of the money coming in on Philly right now. Oh, Teddy, the Mets are minus 135 to 145. The over and under is 8.5. They just beat Philadelphia 5-1 yesterday. But Philly has lost 4 of their last 5 games. The Mets aren't faring much better. We got Effin against Wheeler on the mound tonight. What are you doing in this game, young man?
I'm not excited about Philadelphia. I'm really worried about what's going on in that locker room right now. The whole Bryce Harper suspension last night. And again, Bryce Harper ejection last night. Harper got ejected 4 batters after he got called out. He's in the dugout chirping and chirping and chirping, and And then he sends Gabe Kapler out to yell at the ump. I mean, Jake Arrieta calling out his teammates after the game last night. You know, in theory, it's supposed to be a step-up spot for the Phillies. You know, they had a bad game yesterday. They had a bad series in Colorado. You know, Eflin can pitch. So can Wheeler. For that being said, and of these two lineups right now, the Mets are hitting, and then the Phillies haven't. Phillies lineup's been hit or miss the last, basically since that opening week of the season. The Phillies, they're having their 10-run first innings. They're having a whole lot of games. They're scoring 2 or less, like they did last night.
Yeah, I don't know what to do in that game either, brother. St. Louis 13-9, hosting the the Brew Crew. St. Louis playing to the over 14-6. Both teams are up money for their clients if they've bet them on the money line. We have St. Louis as a minus 120 to 125 favorite. The over and under is 9 here, Teddy. And what's interesting is St. Louis is sitting here as a favorite with a pitcher who hasn't thrown the ball. And Zach Davies is playing pretty good right now, brother. An ERA of 1.19 with 22 innings pitched. A bad whip. But, I mean, look at his last few starts. Against the Dodgers, 5 innings pitched, 0 ERA, 3 hits. Against the Dodgers prior, 7 innings pitched, 1 ERA, 8 hits, 0 ERA against the Cubs. I'm struggling to understand this line. And I think Milwaukee might be an extremely live dog tonight.
You're struggling to understand this line. That's because you're not familiar with how MLB lines get made.
Oh, there we go again. Okay, Teddy, let me get a pen. Okay, go ahead. Teach me. Hello?
You interested?
Yeah, teach. Please.
I mean, if MLB lines are made based on starting pitching, okay? And they're based not on the actual form of the starting pitching. They don't look at any ERA, okay? It's all about the advanced metric stats. The MLB marketplace is dominated by advanced metrics. So when you look at a pitcher like Zach Davies, okay, what are the issues? What do the advanced metrics look at? They look at strikeout rate. Okay, they look at ground ball to fly ball rate. Okay, they want pitchers that keep the ball on the ground and strike batters out. Xavier's not so good in either one of those regards. Okay, he's a junk baller. Okay, he doesn't have the velocity. The market's very concerned with velocity. That's not what Zach Davies brings to the table. So when you have a pitcher like Zach Davies, you look at his starts for the last 3 years, Lawrence. Every start for the last 3 years, you will see that he tends to get bet against, and he tends to be an undervalued commodity because his advanced metric stats aren't any good. The markets react to potential. They love, Ponce de Leon, here's a guy who hasn't pitched all year, a young prospect. They love guys like him. The markets will bet on guys like him, and we'll talk about it 3 more times before this day is done. It happens in game after game, series after series, week after week, where the markets react to the pitcher who has the potential, not the pitcher who is the guy that doesn't have the pretty.
Thanks for the lesson. What are you doing in this game?
I'm just explaining why the line is where it is.
And I thanked you. Now what are you doing?
No, stop, because now you're insulting me, okay? If you want, the goal of the podcast
5-1 Teddy on the insults. Can you just tell us what you're betting in this game, please?
Okay, what's your goal of the podcast?
Right now, to get it over with as soon as possible.
Fair enough. In general, what's the goal of the podcast?
Teach people, but most importantly, just tell them what to frickin' bet.
My goal with the podcast.
Well, why don't you do one every day? And I'm happy to join you as a guest. Wouldn't that be interesting?
That would be a lot. Yeah, but there's no sport that you can talk about.
Can you please tell us who to bet in this game? Because we've got like 6
Davies
more.
Is a perennially undervalued commodity. The markets don't like him. That's all I'm saying. This is an undervalued commodity in general. As a pitcher, the markets don't like him. The advanced metrics don't stack up well for Zach Davies. That's all I'm saying.
Yet he's 2-0 on the year, 3-1 in games he started with an excellent ERA, and he has already got 2 games in his last 4 where he struck out almost 1 per inning. I like Milwaukee. Let's move to the Dodgers against the Chicago Cubs. 15-9 Dodgers, 10-10 Cubs. Both teams are dead even on the over and under. Chicago tonight, minus 112 to 116. The over and under is 8. The Dodgers have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their last 8 games, including beating Milwaukee in their last game 6-5. The Cubs have also won 5 of their last 6 games. We've got a matchup of Maeda versus Quintana. Quintana has had a rough start this year. Teach me, mock me, but end up telling me what you're going to bet in this game, please.
Clearly, I'm not a guy who makes 20 bets on an MLB board in any game. If I find 2 or 3 bets in any given day, I'm happy.
So you're right.
Want me to give every opinion I have, I'm sharing.
Stop. Okay? That's a good point. That's a good point.
Opinions.
That's a good
point. You want someone as a,
I don't want what you're betting. I want your thoughts and opinions. Teach us, my Jedi Master.
So as the pod gets longer and longer, and as Prez, I don't know if he's hungry or if he's, what it is, but as he gets more and more anxious, maybe we'll slow it down a notch. Quintana has not been bad. He's off 2 brilliant starts. He's going to run his last 14 innings. What are you looking at that Quintana's struggling? Back-to-back gems.
I'm talking about on the season as a whole, and you're right. Pittsburgh, 7 innings, 11.
If you're looking at season-long stats already in MLB, season-long stats will crush your bankroll, okay? There's no point in looking at any season-long stats. It's current form. Quintana is an ace right now.
We need to do this show every day together.
Oh, could you handle it, Prez? Because it'd be like this. It'd be like this every single day. And I think, honestly, you're a confident guy. You're a happy guy. I think if you did a show with me every day, you'd end up getting beat down.
Can we make like just a private wager, the two of us, a private wager in public on who beats who in baseball this season?
I could care less what wager you want because I'm not going to talk about that on air. But if you'd like me to, I'm happy to do that with you, Prez. If you want me to talk about, if you want to talk about some stuff on air.
No, just move on and win.
Thank you.
Win.
Okay,
just win.
All right.
Who are we betting in this game?
Dodgers.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the next game.
I don't trust Quintana. Quintana's lighting up a bad
And if you want to mention to the clients, Teddy, that you do all your baseball plays alone in a bubble, sometimes with cock in mouth, that's fine. I have a team. I have a group of guys. They all work for me inside of my brand. I make no bones about it. I'll still kick your ass.
Okay.
Minnesota against Houston. 13-9 Houston, 13-7 Twinkies. Minnesota's playing to the over. Houston's playing to the under. 70% of the general public like Houston tonight. They are minus 143 to 54. The over and under is 9.5. Minnesota's won 4 games in a row, and their bats are alive. Houston's bats are alive too. Put up 5 last night against Minnesota in a loss. 10 before that, 4 before that, 7 before that. Miley versus Pineda. Okay, I don't want you bitching me out here on mispronunciations. What are we doing in this game?
Bet the over.
Okay,
that's what we're doing.
I will bet the over blind, just because you said so.
All right, yeah. Bet it deaf, too.
Bet it what?
Deaf? Too.
Yeah. And the craziest thing is, according to you, I'll be betting it dumb as well.
We were getting there. Do you want some analysis, or I just say I like the over?
Bet the over. Washington, Colorado, 10-11 Washington, 10-13 Colorado. Washington's playing to the over. Colorado's playing to the under. Colorado's a short dog, 110 to 120. There is a 127 at Pinnacle, maybe an hour ago. Over and under is 10. Tell us what you're doing here, sir dude.
I don't even have a starting pitching for the Rockies. So I've done absolutely no work on this game. I said it's a pass for me.
Okay. Texas against Oakland. Texas are 12-9 on the season, Teddy, but 2-5 away from home. Oakland 12-13 on the season. We've got the home team at minus anywhere from 145 to 1. Well, this book, Guts.com, I don't know if you've ever taken a look at this book, but their lines are, this seems like a book that everybody needs to have an account at. Because if you go through game by game, their lines are way off everybody's. And it's the same in hockey. Minus 167 at Guts.com. You can get.
Did you bet there?
No.
Then don't ever recommend for anyone else to bet there. It's a really bad idea. I don't know the management there. You don't know the management there. We don't know who Guts.com is. Do not recommend an offshore book unless you know.
Is there anything that I say that you're not going to start with me on? What are you doing in this game?
You're sitting here, okay, number one, they're not your sponsor, okay? What's your sponsor? YouWager.eu. I can even tell you, that's your sponsor. You talk about some other book who you don't even know. You're like, oh, you guys should all open an account there. Like, that's good, that's the information you want to give people?
Damn, you're an angry man.
And you're blaming me. I'm smiling, dude. It's fun to watch you just shoot yourself with the fun thing about this is like I'm watching you with a shotgun, just taking your foot and just like, boom, that one shot wasn't enough. Let me see if I can get my whole knee off. Boom, oh, no, that wasn't good enough. Let me get my other foot. You just, it's funny. Come on, let's keep going. We're almost done. Hi, Viv.
I need a hug.
Oh,
You do.
he feels hurt because you're calling a spade a spade.
What are you doing in this game?
What game are we talking about?
Oakland, Texas.
Oh, yeah. So this is an interesting one because the Rangers, a hot start, modestly hot start. This may be the high water mark of the season for Texas. Oakland's coming around. But what do we talk about? What are the markets like? The market's like they hate the tired retread. They love the younger prospect. Who do we have for Texas? The tired retread in Lynn. Who do we have for Oakland? The young, talented guy in Montas. So no surprise we're seeing Oakland money. I do lean in that direction, but the markets have already priced me out of it.
The Yankees versus the Angels. Yankees are 12-10 on the season. The Angels are 9-14. I bet the Yankees last night 4-3. Did not release it to my clients. I'm an idiot. But it does happen. I do tend to bet. I get some information late and I can't release it. And that's what happened last night. But if you watched first pitch yesterday, Tony Finn, that was his favorite play on the board. The Angels tonight, Teddy, minus 103 to minus 110. 8.5 on the board right now. We've got, I can't pronounce his name, versus Stratton. What do you like?
German.
What?
Who do I like? Yeah, look, I don't want any part of the Angels right now. Angels are a bad baseball team. All right, flat out. The issue with the Yankees is obviously you're paying for the name New York Yankees. Their bullpen's been vulnerable, surprisingly vulnerable early on. And when you talk about a lineup that's without Judge and Stanton and on down the line, you're paying a little bit of a premium here for the Yankees that you may not be getting. Won on extras last night. They got the job done. It wasn't pretty. It certainly wasn't a right side. They got there, and you'll take it. But I'm not in any rush to get involved in this one tonight.
And it's funny because we were talking about that. They're 12-10 on the season, but they're down 7.5 units for their money line bettors, 1.5 units for their run line bettors. Seattle playing San Diego tonight, Teddy. Seattle 16-9 on the season, up 9 units for their bettors, 16-8 to the over. Playing San Diego, we told you guys, I've been harping on this all year. Atlanta to the over, San Diego to the under. San Diego is 9-13 to the under so far this year. They're at home tonight. They're minus anywhere from 125 to 132. The over and under is 8 in this game. Seattle's bats are alive. It's tough to bet the under right now with Seattle putting up 6, 5, and 11 in their last 4 games. And San Diego did put up a 4 spot last night with a win against Cincinnati. Theodore Covers, what would you like the listeners of this fine show who has had to put up with your condescending bullshit for 35 minutes, what would you like them to bet tonight?
I'd like them to bet my play, which you can get right now at WagerTalk.com and SportsMember.com.
There he goes. Look
There's
at those
some
arms.
But yeah. Enough, dude. You and the guns. Yeah. Honestly, I'm
You
not
should
even gonna go there.
check.
But
Want to see the triceps?
dude, you're playing Vegas Dave right now. It's like, how much can we work out? Therefore, I know how to bet on sports.
No. I find no
Vegas.
analogy. Don't ever call me Vegas Dave.
Then
I'm
stop,
the absolute.
stop showing your guns on air.
Hulk Hogan shows his guns. Call me Hulk. Stone Cold shows his guns. The Rock, Terry Crews, and the chest maneuver. Call me those guys. Don't call me Vegas Dave.
Wrestlers.
What the hell is wrong with you?
All kinds of stuff.
I don't get mad when you call me out on anything, but I do when you call me Vegas Dave.
Okay.
I'm Vegas
Dave
Prez.
Walks up, or whatever the heck his last name is. Let's talk about San Diego and Seattle. Where do hot-hitting teams go to die?
Seattle?
Petco. No. The Mariners are all about power. Nobody hits home runs at Petco. I don't like the Mariners. They're facing the matchup of two nasty youngsters. Honestly, I think Margevicius has potential to be really nasty. And I tend to be a ride the hot, fade the cold kind of guy. And I know that it's been a bad week for the Padres, but the Padres are the better of these two teams. You're going to at home in the pick 'em price. And the Mariners power surge in early season play, that was not likely to continue at the same rate in the maritime air of San Diego.
Teddy, the show's over. I want to leave
Thank God.
I want to leave with a positive note.
Please.
I want you to tell me something that you like about me.
This is going to take a long time for me to think of something. You have a nice smile.
What about my guns?
No, and you know what else I like about you, Lawrence? The fact that me and you have known each other, 15 years now? And our relationship really hasn't changed that much. And for as much as I rip you, I enjoy spending time with you. I look forward to spending a few moments with Lawrence Presman on a regular basis. So I will say this: you have a nice smile, and I enjoy hanging out with you. For as much as I love ripping you, it's kind of fun for me to do it this way. So
Teddy,
that's what I got for you. That's about it.
Teddy, we've hung out so many times in our life.
Right.
I have a highlight of our hanging out.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Well, it was probably, 10, 12 years ago. We were both, let's just say, doing the gunge, if you will.
Okay, we were stoned.
Out of our freaking minds.
The IHOP night.
Yes, the IHOP night. 100% the IHOP night. You picked me up. I think you picked me up at the airport. We went back and checked into my room. I think we smoked like a quarter of an hour.
Stratosphere or something that night?
Yeah. I was broke.
What were you staying at the Strat for?
Yeah, I was broke at that time, dude.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I think we smoked like a copious amount of pot. And then you're like, it was like 2 a.m. You're like, let's go and get blueberry pancakes at the IHOP. Definite highlight night. One I'll never forget.
And that was an all-you-can-eat, too, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I remember getting like multiple.
Dude, it was like this big, man. You like stacked up like 700 blueberries. Yeah. That was a fun night. We will never do again.
Good memory together. Yeah.
But yeah, I do love you, dude, even though you annoy the shit out of me, and you do.
That's
but
what
honestly,
family does.
We need to do these daily.
God forbid.
Puck time tomorrow, me and you?
Oh, yeah. You'll love my analysis for hockey.
Yeah, I think it might be in reverse of who gets to make fun of who.
It actually might be funny because I'd be like, yeah, I like the team with the white uniforms and those blue little penguin things.
Blue penguin.
I know the team names.
Okay. You do know every team name?
Yes.
Okay. We won't test you on that. It's a 40-minute show. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I got write-ups to do, dude. You realize my clients are waiting for my write-ups right now while I'm sitting here yapping with you. There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
Later, buddy.
Now I know we're done.
See you tomorrow.
No. I'll see you next week.
Damn.